بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear students of fourth year English section, we are going to begin now the managerial accounting Zoom lecture number 6. Then we will begin together with course accounting system, the 6th lecture also. Now I'm preparing for share screen. This is Zoom lecture 6, and this is the managerial accounting topic, cases in decision making. We completed together all the decision making using the quantitative analysis, either linear programming through graphical solution or game theory. The other cases we began with case number 5 in the face-to-face lecture 2 weeks ago. The last Zoom lecture, that is the 5th one, discussed the cases 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to discuss case number 4, 6, and 7 because number 5 is already completed. Now, after finishing this lecture, cases in decision making and the chapter of decision making, that is chapter 11, is already discussed. Case number 4, it says that S, R, and Y are 3 products about which the following data are available. Values are in $1,000. We have sales value, we have variable cost, then deducting variable cost from sales, we have contribution margin. We have some fixed cost as salaries of supervisors, marketing cost allocated according to sales basis, then administrative cost. At last, we have operating income, that is 30 for S, 41.4 for R, and negative 4 for Y. As a total, I have 67.4. As Y has a negative operating income, he told me that if we discontinue product Y that have a negative operating income, sales value of S and R will increase by 10% and 15% respectively. So if discontinuing Y because it has a loss, there is an increase in S sales value 10% and in R value, sales value 15%, as he told me. Also, salaries of Y supervisor will be stopped, discontinued. As we will stop product Y, the supervisor salary, that is 20, will be stopped. We will not pay. Salary of S supervisor will increase by 10%. The salary of S supervisor, that is the 15, will be increased by 10%. So now he told me if we will discontinue Y, the following will happen. Sales of S will increase 10%. Sales of R will increase 15%. The salary of Y, that is the product we will stop, the Y supervisor will be stopped. The salary of S should be increased by 10%. Shall we stop Y or not? And why? Now, solution according to the differential approach. Always when we solve the cases in decision making, we may solve by the applied method or the normal method or the differential approach method. Differential approach, as I told you in the lecture, in the live lecture, we call it قصر وهات من الآخر. What is meant by قصر وهات من الآخر? Shortcut solution. إنك توصل للسوليوشن بأقصر طريق. Here, as discontinuing product Y, sales of S and R will increase by 10% and 15% respectively. This means 10% will be increased here, 15% will be increased here. As sales will be increased by 10 and 15%, variable cost will increase by 10% and 15%. So contribution margin will be increased by 10% and 16%, as we will see now. But fixed costs will not be affected up till this point. So sales of S&R will increase by 10%, 15% respectively. So their contribution margin will increase respectively by the same ratio, which equal 60 times 10% and 72 times 15%. This means $6 and $10.8 increase. The 60 and 72 means the contribution margin here, 60 and 72. So we increase 60 by 10%, this means 6, 72 by 15%, this means 10.8. So instead of increasing 10% on sale, 10% on variable cost, we increase 10% on contribution margin and finished. The same for R. Sales salary of Y supervisor will be stopped. So we will save Y's supervisor salary. It will be saved, that is 20. So I have increasing contribution margin of S&R 6 plus 10.8, and I will save 20 Y's supervisor. All these are benefits for the factory or the company. Salary of S supervisor will increase by 10%. This is a cost that should be deducted from the savings and the benefits of the company here. So increase cost by 15 times 10% gives 1.5, because the salary of S is 15. So the increase will be 10%. That is to say 1.5, as I told you here. Don't forget, canceling Y means its contribution margin will not come. So 30 will be lost, the contribution margin of Y, as we will stop it. But all fixed cost as a total will be the same. It will not be affected by canceling Y. But Y, when we cancel it, its sales will be stopped, its variable cost will be saved. This means we will lose 30 as its contribution margin. So we have to consider the loss of Y's contribution margin, which equal 30. Now, discontinuing Y results in losing 30 of Y and the increasing salary of S 1.5. The total equal 31.5. At the same time, there will be increase in contribution margin of S and R, as we calculated it here, 6 plus 10.8. And savings of Y salary, because Y salary will be stopped, as we told you. 6 plus 10, 16 plus 20, 36.8. So we will have increase of 36.8. The loss is 30 plus 1.5, that is 31.5. So we will get 5.3 increase in operating income. So the total operating income will increase to be, instead of 67.4 as here appeared, 67.4, it will be increased by 5.3, so it will be 72.7. So the benefits equal 6, 10.8 plus 20. That is the increase of 10% in contribution margin of S and 15% in contribution margin of Y, with saving the 20 as supervisor salary regarding Y that we will stop. And the loss is contribution margin of Y plus the increase that will happen in the salary of S supervisor. So increasing 36.8 and having loss of 31.5 result in increasing our operating income by 5.3. So we can discontinue product Y, but with considering the descriptive factors that we cannot measure quantitatively. We may lose our customers regarding Y, and the increase in each of S and R may not happen. We may lose our goodwill, we may lose our name in the market, and so on. So if we will not lose any of these, so we can accept discontinuing Y. Another method for solution. He told me that we want to discontinue product Y. we may prepare a new income statement in the light of this continuing one. So I will have S and R only and the total. Sales, it was 200. With increasing 10%, it will be 220. R, it was, I think, 180. With increasing 15%, it will be 207, and this is the total. As we increase sales 10% and 15% regarding S and R, variable costs will be increased 10% and 15% regarding R, S and R, and this is the total. So the contribution margin will be 66 instead of 60, and 82.8 instead of 72. The total fixed cost is just the same, 32.5, 10.6, 33, as you see here. 10.6 and 33, but the supervisor will not be 51. Why? Because we will stop the salary of supervisor Y 20, and we will increase the salary of supervisor S 10%. So increasing 1.5 and decreasing 20, this means that the 51 will become 32.5. The 33 will be distributed between S and R. The 10.6 will be distributed between S and R. The result will be 72.7. As we told you here, 72.7. So instead of preparing a new income statement, and it may be in details more than this, we solve it using the differential approach. But here, this is the statement, and the result is the same. Case number 6. The following represent an estimated income statement, estimated for a next period, for a certain entity which produces and sells 3 products, X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. Sales revenue and total, variable cost and total, the difference between sales and variable cost contribution margin, and its total, minus fixed cost gives operating income. As you see, there is a negative operating income regarding X. And if you know that total fixed cost, this is fixed cost, and this is the total, the 430, total fixed cost. What about it, total fixed cost? He told me that the 430 as total fixed cost includes 200 common. So as we have common fixed cost, we have what is called separable fixed cost. So the 430 includes 200 common, so the remaining 230 separable fixed cost. So each product has its separable fixed cost, but there is 200 fixed cost distributed on the 3 products. The 200 common, which is distributed among the 3 products according to the base sales base. So the 200 are distributed as 2 to 4 to 4, 1 to 2 to 2. The 200 to be divided by 1,000, then multiplied by 200, 400, 400. What else? He told me that while the remaining fixed costs are separable, and we are required to decide if we have to cancel or stop producing X, this is one choice, cancel X and replacing it by product H, which has sales revenue of 800, contribution margin of 40%, and separable fixed cost 280. To solve such a case, first of all, the key of solving it, we have to divide the 430 as fixed cost to 2 kinds of cost: fixed common cost or common fixed cost, and separable fixed cost with the same 430. But sales will remain the same, variable costs will be the same, contribution margin will be the same, and so on. Then we will try to stop X and find the result, replacing H instead of X, and saying seeing the result, then deciding. As total fixed costs includes 200 common, which is distributed among the 3 products on the base of sales revenue, as he told me in the case, while the remaining fixed costs are separable, we can re-prepare the essential income statement as follows. X, Y, and Z. Sales revenue, just the same. Variable cost, contribution margin. Then the fixed cost will be divided the 430. The 430, 230 and 200. The total means 430. The 430. The 200 is to be distributed among the three products X, Y, and Z according to their sales. So if dividing 200 common fixed cost by the total sales 1000, it gives 0.2. 0.2 times 200 gives 40. 0.2 times 400 gives 80. 0.2 times 400 gives 80. 40 plus 80 plus 80 equal 200. So the 200 common costs are distributed like this. Now, the 430 here, we have fixed cost regarding X 110, out of which we have separable 40. So the remaining separable cost 70. Again, for Y, the separable, the total fixed cost 200 included in the 430, out of which we have common 80 out of 200, so the separable fixed cost is 120. Again, regarding Z, it has a total fixed cost 120 included in the 430. The 120 includes 80 common fixed cost, common fixed cost 80. I'm sorry. Just 1 minute. I replaced each one by the other. Common fixed cost, cut to be here. Common fixed cost. Here, separable fixed cost, cut to be there. So as common fixed cost, as I told you, 40, 80, and 80. This one was having fixed cost 110, out of which 40 common. So the separable equals 70. This one was having 200 fixed costs as total, out of which 80 common fixed costs, those separable 120. The last product, that is Z, has 120, out of which 80 common fixed costs, so the remaining equal 40. 120 total, 200, 110. As you see here, 120, 200, 110. The result is the same, negative 30, positive 40, positive 40. As a total, I have operating income of 50. Now, we can present the two alternatives as follows. The first alternative is canceling X. So we will prepare this statement again without X and see the result. Then we will prepare this statement with substituting X by Y by H with these conditions, that it has a sales of 800, contribution margin percentage 40%, this means variable cost 60%, and separable fixed cost 280. The first case, canceling product X. The income statement appears as follows: sales revenue of Y and Z only and their total. Variable cost of Y and Z only and their total. We canceled X. Contribution margin for both Y and Z and their total. Then the fixed cost, separable cost regarding each is the same. The separable cost regarding each is the same. But the common fixed cost will differ. Why you will differ, I will tell you just now. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Look again. The common cost, the common fixed cost was 200, divided between the three products according to their sales. Now X is not existed. X is cancelled. But this is common fixed cost. I have to pay either X is existed or X is refused or dismissed. So the 200 will be distributed among Y and Z. As Y and Z sales are 400 and 400, so the 200 will be 100 and 100 instead of 80 and 80, because X is not found to bear the 40. So the common fixed cost 200 is divided equally between Y and Z because we haven't product X. But the separable fixed costs are the same. Separable fixed cost regarding Y and Z, 120 and 40. But the separable cost of X is cancelled because it is separable fixed cost. If it is found, it is found. If it is dismissed, so the 70 will not be bared. Now, if you will look to the result, I have here 20 and here 20. The total is 40. 40 operating income instead of 50. So there is a loss of 10 because we canceled X, even though X has a loss of 30. Shall we cancel X now? As total operating income decreased to 40 instead of 50, so we have to keep product X. Can you solve it by shortcut? Yes. By differential approach? Yes. Look with me. Canceling X means the 80 will not come. The contribution margin of it will be stopped, will be lost. So I will lose 80, but I will save its separable cost of 70. So is it logic to lose 80 for saving 70? This means a loss of 10. So the 50 will be 40. Again, the shortcut solution. If we stopped X, no sales for X, no variable cost for X, so no contribution margin. So I will lose the contribution margin of 80. At the same time, I will save the 70. Losing 80 and saving 70 means losing 10. The 10 will increase the 50 to be just 40. This is the differential approach. The second choice, cancel X and replace it by H, which has a sale revenue of 800, contribution margin 40%, and separable fixed cost of 280. Now, this is a new column called H instead of X. It has 800 sales. This is 800 sales. Contribution margin 40%. 40% means 320. So variable cost 60% for 80. Or deduct the contribution margin from 800 gives variable cost. It doesn't matter. But regarding Y, sales, variable cost, contribution margin as it is in the original case. 400 to 40 regarding Z, 160. Nothing at all. And we get the new totals. The fixed cost, regarding common fixed cost, the 200, the same 200 will be allocated to H, Y, and Z according to sales value. H has 800 sales value. Y and Z both have 800. So 100 pound of our $100 of the common fixed cost will be for H, and the other 100 will be divided between Y and Z. Again, you can divide 200 by 1,600. Then the result is multiplied by 800, 400, and 400. Or you may divide or allocate the 200 according to 8 to 4 to 4, 2 to 1 to 1. 2 and 1 and 1 means 4. 200 by 4 gives 50. 50 by 2, 100. 50 by 1, 50 by 1. The separable cost of Y and Z is the same, 120 and 4. 120 and 40, 120 and 40, 120 and 40. The new separable cost regarding H is 280. The total is as you see. Now, H has a negative operating income of 60. Oh, don't replace X by H. Wait, please. Don't forget that. X was bearing 40 only of the common cost. This one is bearing 100. It doesn't matter. What about the total operating income? 80 instead of 50. So I have increase in operating income by 30. So canceling X and replacing it by Y results in increasing total operating income to be 80. So we can accept replacement, but with considering the descriptive factors that we cannot measure quantitatively, because maybe canceling X will affect the sales of Y and Z. Maybe canceling of X will let us to lose our goodwill, our name in the market, our competition, and so on. Can we use the shortcut in solving such a case? Yes. Canceling X, as I told you, canceling X means contribution margin loss of 80 and saving separable of 70. So loss of 10, right? We will lose 10. What about adding H? Contribution margin of 320 and separable cost 280. So 320 deduct 280 gives 40. So we will gain 40. Compare with losing 10 regarding canceling X, so we will have 30. Again, the 320 compared by 280, we will get 320 and we will bear 280 separable fixed costs regarding H. So the result is having 40 as gains. Canceling X means losing 10, 80 minus 70. So gaining 40 and losing 10 means gaining 30. 30 plus 50 gives 80. Right? The last case. I'm saying to you, can you solve through using the differential approach? Please try. And I solved it with you without writing the solution thoroughly. Oral. Try to solve it, please. Case number 7. This case is regarding decision making in its first 2 requirements. But the third requirement is related to budgets. Budget, that is the new topic I will begin with you next Monday, inshallah. He is saying that the following estimated income statement is available and you are required to, number 1, find operating income in case that sales decreased 25%. Suppose that full capacity is 300,000 units. Shall we accept a special order of 25,000 units at $59 per unit, which requires additional fixed cost of 91,000? This is the second requirement. The third requirement, prepare each of production budget. You know nothing about budgets till now. Purchase of raw material budget. You know nothing about budgets now. But budget will be explained next lecture. But I will give you an idea now to be able to complete our lecture on next Monday. Prepare each of production budget and production purchase of raw material budget. If you know that inventory of finished products in units 50 and 45 as ending and beginning inventory. The inventory of raw material in kilograms regarding ending and beginning is 15,000 and 12,000. Where is the estimated income statement that he said here? The following estimated income statement. This is the estimated income statement. Sales revenue according to sale price 67 equal so much. Direct material that needs 6 kilogram per unit at 1.25 per kilogram, so much. Direct wages according to 8 hours per unit at 4.45 per hour gives this figure. Manufacturing overhead, 30% of direct wages, this figure. Pay attention that manufacturing overhead, 30% of direct wages. This means that direct wages is variable. All direct costs are variable. As this is a percentage from a variable, so it is variable cost. So it is variable cost. Variable manufacturing and administrative cost 1.2 per unit. So this is variable marketing and administrative cost. A total variable cost is here like this. Then the result after deducting sales, I have contribution margin minus total fixed cost 1049 gives operating income $2,191,000. The first question, if we decrease sales by 25%, what will be the operating income? As you see, find operating income in case that sales decrease 25%. Decreasing sales by 25% means decreasing all the variable cost items by 25%, means decreasing the total variable cost by the same percentage, 25%, means decreasing the contribution margin by 25%. So instead of decreasing this, and that by 25%, decrease the contribution margin by 25%. Then the result to be deducted from the existing operating income gives you the new operating income if sales will be decreased by 25%. So operating income in case that sales decrease 25%. We can re-prepare the income statement according to the mentioned condition. Sales will be decreased by 25%. So this sales, I deducted 25%. I multiplied by 75%. Okay? Then these four items and their total is decreased by 25%. It became like this. So deducting the new sales minus the new variable cost gives the new contribution margin. Deducted the same fixed cost, because fixed cost we have to pay either we produced at 100% of capacity, 75% of capacity, even zero capacity. The new operating income 1381 instead of 2191. Can we solve it by shortcome? Yes. Differential approach or shortcome solution. Operating income equal the existed operating income 2191, this one. We will deduct out of it 25 of this contribution margin. 25 of this contribution margin, like this, minus 3240 times 25%. 3240, that is the contribution margin, 3,240,000. I will deduct it to 25%. So this figure minus this one gives 1381. 1381. So instead of re-preparing the income statement with decreasing 25% sales revenue and deducting 25% of this variable cost, I know that fixed costs will remain the same. So the decrease will be in the sales and in the variable costs. The difference between sales and variable costs means contribution margin, and it has a linear relation. So I can deduct 25% of this figure and finished. So this is the result with the shortcut. The second requirement is that suppose that full capacity is 300,000 units. Shall we accept an order of 25 at 59? My sale price is 67 sale price per unit. The offer is purchasing at 59. Shall we accept? He told me, if you have unutilized capacity, you can accept if you have just £1 contribution margin excess. He told me the capacity is 300 units. What about the capacity of these sales? If dividing the sales value by the sale price per unit, it gives me the number of units sold. It will equal 270. But my capacity is 300, so I have 30,000 unutilized capacity. 30,000. So if there is a special order 30,000 or less, that is 25, I can produce without bearing any millim of fixed cost. So I will bear the variable cost only. This means that supposing that full capacity is 300 units, as you told me, shall we accept a special order of 25,000 units at 59 per unit, which requires additional fixed cost of 91? The sold quantity equal total sales value from the income statement divided sale price per unit from the income statement gives 270 units. Total variable cost from the income statement is this figure. If divided by number of units, it gives me variable cost per unit 55. Again, this is the sales value. I will divide by 67 sale price per unit. It gives 270. This is total fixed cost. This is total fixed cost. If divided by the number of units, it gives me variable cost per unit. So sales value divided sales value per unit, sale price per unit, gives number of units. If dividing total variable cost by the number of units, it gives variable cost per unit. The offered price is 59 instead of 67. The 59 can cover the 55 variable cost and remains $4. The $4 times 25,000 units of special order gives $100,000. But accepting this order will let us to bear 91,000 fixed cost. So the $100,000 minus 91,000 gives $9,000 positive operating income to be increased if we accept this special order. So we can accept the special order, but with considering the descriptive factor that we cannot measure quantitatively. إذا بقية العملاء حسوا إن أنا بعت بسعر أقل لحد تاني هيقولوا لي برضه بقى تف في وشي لو جينا لك تاني أنت بتبيع لنا ب 67 وبتبيع للراجل ده ب 59. So I may lose my goodwill, my name, and my customers, either existing customers or expected customers in the future. Now, he is asking me to prepare each of the production budget and purchase of raw material budget. Quantity of sales equal 270 as I explained to you. Beginning and ending inventory finished product 45 and 50. Beginning inventory of finished product 45. Ending equal 50. The quantity sold I calculated by dividing sales by sale price per unit. I found it 270. So I will sell 270,000. After selling the 270, I need to have ending inventory of 50. So بعد ما أبيع ال 270 عايز يتبقى عندي ending inventory 50. So I am in need of 270 plus 50 equal 320. I have at beginning inventory 45,000. If deducted, he will give me the quantity to be produced. I mean the production budget. Again, as quantity of sales 270, beginning and ending inventory of finished products 45 and 50, and as production budget equal expected sales, that is 270, plus ending inventory, that is 50, minus beginning inventory, that is 45. So production equal 270, the expected sales, plus the projected ending inventory, 50, minus the existed beginning inventory. So production will be 275,000 units. Again, بالراحة كده، افرض ان انت عايز تبيع الفترة اللي جاية دي 1000 يونت، وعايز بعد ما تبيعهم يتبقى عندك انفنتوري اندنج انفنتوري 200، يبقى هبيع 1000 وعايز يتبقى 200، يبقى انت محتاج قد ايه؟ 1200. لو عندك منهم 100 ات بيجيننج 1200 شيل منهم الاكزيستد ات بيجيننج 100، يبقى انا هنتج 1100. طب انا عايز ابيع 270 وعايز يتبقى بعد كده 50، يبقى انا محتاج 320. شيل منهم الاكزيستد 45، يبقى انت محتاج تنتج 275. خلاص كده 275. ده البرودكشن، دي كده البرودكشن بادجت. بس طبعا لما اشرحها لك هوسع لك شويه في المحاضره. طيب نيجي نقول بقى هو طالب مني كمان ان انا اعمل له البيرتشيز اوف رو ماتيريال بادجت. اشتري رو ماتيريال قد ايه؟ ومديني الانفنتوري بتاع الرو ماتيريال البيجيننج والاندنج. حاضر. purchases of raw material. اوكي purchases of raw material. The direct material used here is this value. Okay. I need 6 kilogram per unit at 1.25 per kilogram. So each unit of production needs 6 kilogram. And the kilogram I purchase by 1.25. يبقى أنا عايز لكل يونت هنتجها 6 كيلو جرام مواد خام، والكيلو بدولار وربع. طب 6 كيلو هو أنا هنتج قد إيه؟ 2750. I told you the production 2750. This is the production quantity. For each unit I will produce, I need 6 kilogram. As each unit needs 6 kilogram at 1.25 per kilogram, so the production requirement of direct material equal the requirement 275 times 6. I need 1,650,000 kilogram. This is my requirement for the production. But shall I purchase this quantity only? No. Why? Because I have beginning inventory and ending inventory regarding raw material. So again, I will produce 275,000 finished products units. Each unit needs 6 kilogram of raw material. So I need 1,650,000 kilogram. This is my requirement for my production. As he told me that inventory of raw material at end 15, at beginning 12. So after using the required material, I need ending inventory of raw material 15,000 kilogram. And I have at beginning 12,000. Come again. As each unit needs 6 kilogram at 1.25 per kilogram, so the production requirement of direct material equal 275 times 6 equal this figure. As purchase budget means the production requirement 1,650. The production requirements 1,650 kilogram plus ending material minus beginning inventory of material times the price per kilogram. Again, لو انت محتاج للانتاج 2000 كيلو ومحتاج بعد ما تستخدمهم يتبقى 500، يبقى انت محتاج قد ايه؟ 2500. عندك منهم 300، تشتري قد ايه؟ 2200. طب الكيلو ب5 جنيه والحسابه بتحسب، اضرب 2200 في 5 يديك 11000 جنيه. طب هنا سيادتك هتنتج 275، كل يونت من دول عايزه 6 كيلو، يبقى انت محتاج 1,650. طب ال1,650 اللي انت محتاجه ده محتاج بعد ما تستخدمهم يتبقى 15، اجمعهم عليه. طب عندك منهم في الاول 12، اطرحهم منها، يبقى الفرق 3 مع دي 1,635 1,653، اضربها في دولار وربع يديك 2,066,250. Good luck till I will see you next Monday إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.